inside the Albany Resort penthouse is conditioned to a perfect, sterile chill. Outside, the Caribbean sun is setting on a $30 million view. Inside, the kingdom is burning. They didn't come for a cartel boss. They didn't come for a violent warlord. They came for a 30-year-old math nerd in cargo shorts. Sam Bankman-Fried, the boy king, the white knight of crypto, in handcuffs. Look at him. Messy hair, baggy t-shirt, sleeping on a beanbag while managing billions of dollars. For years, the world looked at this image and saw a genius. They saw the next J.P. Morgan, a monk in the temple of capitalism. He told us he didn't care about Lamborghinis. He told us he drove a Toyota Corolla because he wanted to save every penny to heal the world. We bought the story. We bought the hype. And while we were looking at the Toyota, he was stealing the keys to the bank. This isn't just a story about fraud. Fraud is boring. Fraud is common. No, this is a story about a glitch in the human operating system. It's about a philosophy called effective altruism. The idea that you should make as much money as possible by any means necessary just so you can give it away. It sounds noble, doesn't it? But ask yourself this: if you believe you are the only one smart enough to save the world, what rules are you willing to break? What lies are you willing to tell? And how many lives are you willing to ruin for the greater good? $32 billion evaporated. Over 1 million creditors left holding the bag. A digital empire built on nothing but code, charisma, and a complete absence of morality. We tend to think of monsters as creatures hiding in the dark, but the most dangerous monsters, they are the ones who convince you they are saints, right until the moment they swallow you whole. So, how did he do it? How did a shy, awkward kid from California play the entire global financial system like a cheap video game and lose? To understand the monster, we have to go back to the code that built him. Most villains are born from trauma. They are forged in poverty, abuse, or violence. But Sam Bankman-Fried, no. Sam was born from a theory. He grew up on the campus of Stanford University, the son of 2 elite law professors. But the Bankman-Fried household wasn't warm and fuzzy. It was an intellectual pressure cooker. Dinner table conversations weren't about, "How was your day?" They were about ethical paradoxes and legal frameworks. From a very young age, Sam wasn't taught to feel. He was taught to calculate. He was indoctrinated into a philosophy known as utilitarianism. On paper, it sounds logical, the greatest good for the greatest number of people. But when you take that logic to the extreme, when you apply it to a developing human mind, it strips away something essential. It removes empathy. If killing one innocent person saves 5 others, a normal human hesitates. They feel the horror of the act. A utilitarian doesn't hesitate. They do the math. 5 is greater than 1. The decision is instant. Sam didn't see people. He didn't see friends or family. He saw variables. He saw data points in an infinite equation of expected value. He was a robot, a machine built to process risk, devoid of the emotional firmware that keeps the rest of us from driving off a cliff. And where does a human calculator go to prove his worth? He goes to the altar of greed. Wall Street, specifically a secretive, quantitative trading firm called Jane Street. This is where the monster learned to hunt. Jane Street isn't your typical stock brokerage. It's a place for the smartest math nerds in the world to gamble with millions of dollars in milliseconds. Here, Sam found his natural habitat. At Jane Street, they taught him a concept that would become his religion: risk neutrality. Imagine I offer you a coin flip. Heads, you win $1 billion. Tails, you lose everything you own. You go bankrupt. Your life is ruined. Would you take that bet? Of course not. The pain of losing everything outweighs the joy of the billion. That's human nature. We are risk-averse. But Sam takes that bet. And he doesn't just take it once. He takes it 1,000 times a day. To him, if the math says you have a 51% chance of winning, you must bet. Even if the 49% chance means total annihilation. He learned that money isn't real. It's just points. It's a high score on a screen. And if you lose, you just hit reset. But there was a problem. Accumulating wealth wasn't enough to satisfy his ego. He needed a purpose. He needed a moral license to kill. And he found it in a movement called effective altruism. The pitch was seductive. Don't work in a soup kitchen. That's inefficient. Go to Wall Street. Become a shark. Make $1 billion. And then pay for 1,000 soup kitchens. Earning to give. It sounds heroic, but look closer. It is the perfect psychological shield for a narcissist. It tells you that your greed is actually virtue. It tells you that no matter how many lies you tell, how many laws you break, or how many people you step on, it's all okay. Because eventually, you're going to save the world. The ends justify the means. This belief system gave Sam a God complex. He genuinely believed that because his intentions were good, the rules didn't apply to him. He was the chosen one, the one man smart enough to manage the world's money. By 2017, Sam had mastered the game at Jane Street, but he was bored. Wall Street was too regulated, too slow, too many eyes watching. He craved higher variance. He craved a game with no referees. He looked at the financial horizon and saw a new frontier. A chaotic, lawless, unregulated Wild West where fortunes were made and lost in the blink of an eye. A place where a risk-neutral gambler could become a king. He looked at crypto, and for the first time, the math robot smiled. 2017, the Wild West. While Wall Street was still debating if Bitcoin was real, Sam was already exploiting the cracks in the system. He started Alameda Research. Don't let the name fool you. It sounds like a boring academic institute. It wasn't. It was a Shark Tank. They made millions a day on something called the kimchi premium, buying Bitcoin cheap in the US and selling it high in Japan and Korea. It was free money. And for a utilitarian, free money is like oxygen. But trading wasn't enough. Sam wanted to own the casino. So he built FTX, the crypto exchange for traders, by traders. And this is where the greatest magic trick of the 21st century began. Sam realized something profound about human psychology. If you wear a suit and tie, people guard their wallets. They see a salesman. But if you look like a homeless college student, if you look like you haven't slept in 3 days because you're too busy saving the world, people hand you the keys to the kingdom. He crafted the perfect costume, the sloppy genius, the unruly afro, the wrinkly cargo shorts, the Toyota Corolla he drove, despite being worth $20 billion. It wasn't an accident. It was branding. Every unwashed t-shirt was a calculated signal to investors. I don't care about material things. I only care about the mission. He disarmed the most powerful people on Earth with his shoelaces untied. Former presidents, celebrities, supermodels, legendary investors. They all lined up to kiss the ring of the boy wonder. They didn't see a slob. They saw Einstein. And Sam. He was laughing at them. Imagine this moment. Sam is on a Zoom call with Sequoia Capital, the most prestigious venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. These are the people who funded Apple, Google, and WhatsApp. They are ready to hand him hundreds of millions of dollars. They are asking him about his vision, about the future of money. But on Sam's screen, he isn't looking at a spreadsheet. He isn't looking at their faces. He's looking at a chaotic battlefield of elves and wizards. He's playing League of Legends. Click, click, click. Yes, absolutely. He mumbles, eyes darting across the map. Click, click. QWER combo. FTX is going to be the everything app for finance. Click. Kill. Confirmed. The partners at Sequoia are mesmerized. They later wrote a memo saying, "I love this founder." They thought his distraction was brilliance operating on a higher plane. But it wasn't brilliance. It was contempt. It was the ultimate power move. He was showing to himself, mostly, that these gatekeepers of finance were irrelevant. He could take their money while killing a digital dragon, and they would thank him for it. This is the God complex in its purest form. Sam didn't just think he was smarter than the regulators. He thought he was smarter than the market itself. He believed he could outmath reality. And where was this new God ruling from? Not a skyscraper in New York, but a penthouse in the Bahamas. The Orchid Building, Albany Resort, Inside, it wasn't a professional trading floor. It was a frat house for the socially awkward elite. 10 people. The inner circle. Gary Wang, the silent coder. Nishad Singh, the engineer. And Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda and Sam's On Again. Off Again girlfriend. They lived together. They worked together. They slept together. A tangled polycule of romance and finance, isolated from the rest of the world. To the outside, they were a team of disciplined quant traders. On the inside, it was a pressure cooker fueled by Adderall and MSAM patches. Stimulants to keep them awake for 20 hours a day, wired into the matrix. They created their own reality in that penthouse. A feedback loop where no one ever said no to Sam. Why would they? He was the golden goose. He was the smartest man alive. If Sam said it was okay to borrow customer funds to plug a hole in Alameda, then it must be okay. Because Sam did the math. And the math doesn't lie. They felt invincible. They were the young kings and queens of the new world. But they forgot the most basic rule of the playground. When you build a castle out of sand, you better pray the tide doesn't come in. The end of the world didn't begin with an explosion. It began with a PDF. A leaked balance sheet from Alameda Research lands on the desk of a reporter at CoinDesk. It was a single page of numbers, but to the trained eye, it was a crime scene. It revealed a terrifying truth: the billions of dollars Alameda claimed to have. It was mostly FTT tokens. Magic internet money that Sam had printed out of thin air. The collateral was fake. The solvency was a mirage. For a few days, there was silence. The calm before the tsunami. Then, the executioner arrived. Changpeng Zhao, CZ, CEO of Binance and Sam's arch-rival. November 6th, CZ tweets, due to recent revelations, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. It was a death sentence. In the financial world, confidence is everything. And CZ just pulled the pin on the grenade. The bank run begins. Traders, wake up. Panic spreads like a virus. Withdrawal request. Withdrawal request. Withdrawal request. 100 million. 500 million. 1 billion. Money isn't just leaving FTX. It is hemorrhaging. Inside the penthouse in the Bahamas, the vibe shifts from dorm room to emergency ward. The League of Legends matches stop. The beanbags are abandoned. The inner circle is huddled around monitors, watching the liquidity drain away in real time. The Signal group chats are screaming. We need more liquidity. Do we have the money? Where are the customer funds? And this is the moment the truth hits Sam Bankman-Fried like a physical blow. The money isn't there. It was never there. He had sent it to Alameda. He had gambled it away. He had spent it on mansions and political donations. There is an $8 billion hole in the bucket, and the ocean is pouring in. But what does a pathological liar do when cornered? He doubles down. November 7th. Sam opens Twitter. His hands are shaking, but his ego is steady. He types the lie that will seal his fate. FTX is fine. Assets are fine. He knows it's a lie. Caroline knows it's a lie. But he thinks if he says it with enough confidence, reality will bend to his will. He thinks he can tweet his way out of bankruptcy. But math doesn't care about your tweets. By Tuesday, the withdrawal requests hit $6 billion. The exchange freezes. The lights go out. The Toyota Corolla Act. Done. The effective altruism shield. Shattered. November 11th. Chapter 11. Bankruptcy. Sam resigns. Imagine the silence in that penthouse now. The staff is fleeing the island. The lawyers are quitting. The FBI is booking flights. Sam is alone in the ruins of his own intellect. He looks at the screen. The billions are gone. The reputation is ash. For the first time in his life, he can't calculate the expected value, because the value of everything he touched is zero. The mask didn't just fall off. It was ripped off by the collective rage of 1 million people who trusted him. He isn't the sloppy genius anymore. He is just a criminal in a t-shirt, waiting for the door to be kicked in. And as the sun sets over the Caribbean, Sam Bankman-Fried realizes the one variable he forgot to put in his equation: consequences. Most criminals, when caught, do the one thing their lawyers beg them to do. They shut up. They hide. They prepare for war. But Sam Bankman-Fried isn't a criminal in his own mind. He's a protagonist. And protagonists don't hide. They explain. After the collapse, sitting in the wreckage of his empire, Sam decided to launch the most insane public relations campaign in history. The Apology Tour. He went on Good Morning America. He spoke at the New York Times Dealbook Summit. He sat in his chair, twitching, eyes darting, and told the world, "I didn't mean to." He truly believed that if he just spoke enough words, if he just used enough verbal gymnastics, he could bend reality back into shape. He thought he could explain away an $8 billion theft as a clerical error. It was the ultimate delusion. The arrogance of a man who thinks he can charm the hangman while the noose is being tied. But the court of public opinion doesn't hand out sentences. A federal judge does. October 2023. The Southern District of New York. The sloppy genius is gone. In his place sits a defendant in a cheap, ill-fitting gray suit. His trademark afro has been cut short. He looks smaller, fragile. And then the doors open, and the ghosts of his past walk in. This is the part of the tragedy that Shakespeare would have written. The prosecution didn't need to hunt for witnesses. They just opened the door to the penthouse. Gary Wang, Nishad Singh, Caroline Ellison, the inner circle, the roommates, the lovers. They didn't just testify against him. They dismantled him. Caroline took the stand. She wasn't the confident CEO anymore. She was terrified. She cried as she told the jury the truth. Sam directed me to commit these crimes. She described the spreadsheets they doctored, the bribes they paid, the lies they told. Every word she spoke was a dagger in Sam's back, twisted by the very hands he used to hold. Sam sat there, stone-faced, typing furiously on a laptop that wasn't connected to the internet. Isolated. The polycule was dead. The loyalty was a transaction, and the contract had expired. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. Sam took the stand. The smartest man in the room. The M.I.D.A. graduate. The human calculator. And he crumbled. Under cross-examination, the genius vanished. I don't recall. I'm not sure. I don't remember. He said it over 140 times. The man who could calculate arbitrage odds in milliseconds suddenly couldn't remember sending an email. It wasn't a defense. It was a humiliation. The jury didn't buy the act. Guilty on all 7 counts. March 28th, 2024. The Reckoning. Judge Lewis Kaplan looked down at the fallen king of crypto and delivered the final variable of the equation. 25 years. 25 years in a federal prison. No beanbags. No vegan meals delivered by private chefs. No League of Legends. Just concrete, steel, and time. This is the tragic irony of utilitarianism. Sam spent his whole life treating human beings like numbers, like non-player characters in his video game. He believed that individual lives didn't matter, as long as the total value was high. He sacrificed his friends, his family, and his customers for the greater good. And now, the universe has returned the favor to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Sam Bankman-Fried is no longer a visionary. He is no longer a billionaire. He is just a number. Inmate 37244054. He wanted to maximize his utility to the world, but in his arrogance, he rounded down to 0. In the end, the story of Sam Bankman-Fried is not a tragedy of greed. It is a tragedy of hubris. He started as a boy who wanted to solve the world's problems with a calculator. He wanted to cure diseases, stop climate change, and save humanity. But in his quest to become the savior, he became the very thing he swore to fight. He didn't give billions to the poor. He stole billions from the working class. He didn't save the future. He mortgaged it. There is an old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Sam Bankman-Fried built a superhighway. He proves a terrifying truth about the modern age. Intelligence is not a substitute for integrity. You can have the highest IQ in the room. You can master the laws of probability. You can outsmart the market. But if you lack the basic moral compass that tells you not to steal, you are just a dangerous weapon waiting to go off. Sam thought he was playing a video game where he could respawn if he died. He thought ethics were just dumb rules for people who weren't smart enough to see the big picture. He was wrong. Real life doesn't have a reset button, and real people bleed when you cut them. Let this be a warning, not just to the next crypto kingpin, but to us. We, the public, are addicted to the myth of the tech messiah. We see a young billionaire in a hoodie, and we project our hopes onto him. We stop asking questions because we want to believe in the magic. Stop believing in the magic. Don't trust the halo. Trust the data. Don't trust the persona. Trust the audit. Because the next Sam Bankman-Fried is already out there. He's watching this. He's taking notes. And he thinks he's smart enough not to get caught. Before he was caught, a reporter asked Sam about ethics, about the game of right and wrong. Sam's answer was the only honest thing he ever said. It's a dumb game we woke Westerners play, where we say all the right shibboleths, and so everyone likes us. He played the game. He lost. And now, he has 25 years to think about the rules. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the psychology of fraud, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories from the dark side of business. I'll see you in the next one.